a novel, a historical fiction novel about trans people coming out in 2025 when there's so much like anti-trans rhetoric and not just rhetoric, but also like laws and legislation being, all this stuff going on. How much, should a trans author be driving the point home of like, hey, feels like Nazi Germany? I don't know if you have thoughts about that.
I have sort of evolving thoughts about it, and I have thoughts about it in reference to this book specifically, but also sort of other books in general. It's interesting. I feel like we are at a moment in time where we have kind of earned the heavy-handed art. And by
Yeah,
that, I think what I mean is that if we have been more subtle in the past, it has not worked. It has not
right.
gotten us where we needed to be.
Sure, sure.
And I sort of feel like I don't know what's left. I think it was
Mm,
really interesting for me in the middle of the book. There's a section where so throughout the book is like divided into sections, like mainly part one, part two, part three, but then of course there's chapters. And before in certain places throughout the book, you'll get a note in like italics that is like communication, like this is what's happening to trans people at this moment. That's like it's
yeah,
almost like
they're
it's
like
going out.
newspaper.
Yes, they're like newspaper clippings,
Yeah,
announcements or whatever, but you can, as you read them, you can tell that they're being circulated like in sort
like
of subversive ways.
underground.
Yes,
Yeah,
underground.
underground news getting passed to the like within the community.
Yes, exactly. In the ways in which they can do it best without being surveilled. And there's this section in the middle of the book where there's a bunch of them in a row, and they're just getting worse and worse and worse. And the last one talks about Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, who's a character in the book and a real life person who ran the sort of Institute of Human Sexuality in Germany that was kind of at the forefront of so much of
Yeah.
the conversation around sexuality and gender identity. And it says he's the most, I forget exactly what it says, but it basically says he's the most dangerous Jew in all of Germany, like at this time. And he's been performing, or working with providers to perform like gender reassignment surgeries and supporting people and educating the community. And I just thought about even just the rhetoric that we've heard in the last few days, like in the last few days in response to the killing of Charlie Kirk, like there are people on the far right who are talking about how trans people are the most dangerous people in America and how trans people are a terrorist group, which is like an escalation from what we were hearing 3 months ago, 6 months
Right.
ago. And I mean, that was so eerily weird and prescient. And I just was like, I sort of feel like we have to be heavy-handed. But
Yeah.
even if we are heavy-handed, what is it doing? Is it going to do enough?
Yeah. I also feel like what's interesting about a book like this is like those people aren't going to read it.
Right, right,
And that's what's hard is it's like, well, I don't need Milo Todd to be heavy-handed with me. I need Milo Todd to be heavy-handed with old boy over there on Fox News, right? And like that's the thing that's so frustrating about like art sometimes is it's like I hear what you're saying and I agree with you. So like I don't need the lecture today, but I understand why it's there because to your point, like people need it. And I think there are probably people in between me and old boy on Fox News or whoever who are reading this book who are like connecting dots for the first time, which is again why I said like some of the issues I have with this book are just because this is a piece of history that I really love and have read about. So I think like my own biases coming in, not even biases, but just like interests coming in. Like I knew that, like, I think a lot of people didn't know that there were trans people having reassignment surgeries in the 30s. And like I
right,
did know that. So
right.
like I think just some of those pieces, it's hard. I think Milo Todd has an extremely hard job of balancing all of his knowledge because he knows way more obviously than me. Like he's done all of this research and balancing the art of storytelling, which I think he does really beautifully in this book, and also making a point, like this book, as all books are, is political. And I think it feels even more political right now, though I think it probably would feel political in any time.